The following is my own philosophical take on an anime from the 90s. It isn't fact, only one man's subjective viewpoint, so please, refrain from being hateful to push an agenda. There are no right or wrong answers, and the community surrounding this series should be happy that a dialogue can continue to today. I know I am. So, without further ado, go ahead and roll the clip.
どんなところですか？
自分が出てるところ、あまり自分が好きになれないとなります。それを人に伝えるための努力、自分をまともにしようとする努力、とにかくまともな手段で他人と関われない人たちがちょっとうがったことをしてなんとか自分と他人との間を保っている、それが表現というものだと思います。少なくとも僕はそうですね。
Who am I? No, I know who I am. No. Who am I to you? Who are you to yourself? What perception do you have of me? Is it a good one? A bad one? One focused on hatred, violence, sex, or perhaps love? If your perception of me is different than my own self-perception, then how can I ever fit the mold that you see me in? I can only exist to disappoint you and ultimately bring ruin. I only want to be surrounded by others, to be cared for by others, to be loved. If I have someone who knowingly stays when they know I can't fit the mold that they have for me, then I'll be okay, right? I'll know my existence has meaning and worth because... This is the question that Neon Genesis Evangelion attempts to answer. What constitutes self-worth? Is it the presence of others in your life? A loving sexual relationship? Adoration from parents? Talent? Hard work? And can that value be present when darkness lurks in our past? This is an answer up to interpretation, so let me give you mine. Sit back, relax, and grab a drink. We are Dino Junkie, and this is Neon Genesis Evangelion and Self-Worth. Evangelion tells the story of Ikari Shinji, a young, lonesome boy who, along with Ayanami Rei and Asuka Langley Soryu, pilots an Eva, a large mech, in a desperate attempt to protect the Earth from angels, triggering the Third Impact, an event that would bring about the end of humanity. Over 26 episodes and many movies, but only one we will be focusing on today, the end of Evangelion, Shinji and the others go on a journey of becoming Earth's protectors, struggling with maturity and sexual awakenings, and most of all, a tirade of psychological torment and existential dilemma that acts as a mouthpiece for Anno on the subject of worth, specifically self-worth, and where it is derived from. From Misato's alcoholism triggered by daddy issues, and Asuka's vain and obnoxious presence brought on from a shattered self-confidence, to Shinji's constant fear of failure, we see that while these people are not necessarily likable, they are entirely human. Just as we aren't alone in our imperfections, Shinji isn't alone in his strife. The fact that he believes himself to be is instrumental to what Evangelion stands for. That although we may perceive ourselves or others as less than, we can understand that others do feel the same way. They struggle greatly, and only they can help themselves, as only we can help ourselves. The lives of our main cast aren't cast in shadow for the entirety of the series, however. Shinji manages to gain confidence in himself. Misato rekindles an old romance and manages to fall in love once again. Asuka and Shinji form a semi-romantic bond, and we begin to see somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel, only for it to be cast in shadow once more. Just as the characters begin to question their purpose in this cycle of hope and despair, highs and lows, past and future, we begin to question not only their purpose, but our own as well. How do we go about this journey? I've always searched for a purpose, for myself and for my people, for humanity. But as time has gone on, as my struggle with self-loathing has continued on, I've arrived at the fact that perhaps there is no purpose other than yourself. To live as the best version of yourself as you perceive yourself will ultimately be the best version of yourself. Just as Shinji and the others take on new forms to gain praise, Asuka sexualizing herself for the approval of a dominant male figure, Rei being reborn to fit the outlined grief of a cold, robotic man, and that man wishing to change the shape of humanity to receive the love of his dead wife, even Shinji completely losing his form for his mother's love, it ultimately never makes them happy. The hole that is left from not being able to love oneself cannot be filled by another, and so we go on asking ourselves, why? Why do we exist? For love? For sex? To conquer? To be the best at one thing? To make others happy? To reunite with what was lost? To reproduce, to have a family, to have a legacy, to be so close with another in all of their flaws that the perception you both hold of each other doesn't matter? To become one? This is perhaps the most dangerous spectacle within Evangelion, to become one. The Instrumentality Project's goal is to turn the Lilim, humans, back into one form so that no more suffering, no more judgments, no more violence, war, heartbreak, or sadness can be felt, except that this means that happiness, joy, love, these things cannot be felt either. The answer we arrive at is that there is no one thing in your life that gives it meaning. It is the fact that you live as a human that has value. No matter your past or your future, no matter how much emotional torment or ecstasy you may face, it's worth it to try again. Many think that the end of Evangelion is Anno's response to all of the hate and backlash he received with the last 2 episodes of the series. And while I don't disagree on the fact that it is a response, I do disagree on what kind of response the end of Evangelion is. People are under the opinion that Anno created the film as a dark, gritty, violent, and overall depressing way to end the canon, with Asuka Langley Soryu calling Shinji disgusting. Being the very last moment of the film, I feel the opposite. To me, this ending that happens parallel to the last 2 episodes is just a way of showing 2 sides of the same coin. The message is still there, the presentation is just different. After being able to pull all of the souls of humanity into one cosmic being, one fulfilled angel, Shinji thinks back on his experiences and wishes to go back, just to be able to see them once more. He sheds the form of the new angel, sheds the Eva, the form that gives him strength, and returns with Asuka on Earth. As he turns back to his flawed, violent, human ways, Asuka responds with a gentle caress of the face, causing Shinji to break down crying. This moment of gentleness is shattered with Asuka saying, "Disgusting." We're left with the never-ending cycle of love and hate. But Shinji chose this over total numbness. He chose life. Feeling something is better than nothing, pain better than absolute stasis, and as long as humans choose to push for life, to have experiences on top of their own existence, to understand their place in the world and accept and love themselves for that, then life has purpose. Humans are incredibly human because they find purpose through living life. I've struggled for a long time with this piece of my life, with seeing any kind of value in my life, looking to others to tell me how I should behave, what I should look like, what I should strive for. It's kept me in a cycle of pain for so long, but through lots of hard work, support from others that I can do this, and fully being able to come to the conclusion for myself that my life has purpose because I was born as myself is something that, well, made me cry. And Evangelion was eye-opening on that path. So I hope it can be for you too. If you haven't decided to take the plunge and go on the, truth be told, both tiring and inspiring journey, I recommend you do. It could just help to change your life. Evangelion is one of my favorite anime, and making this was quite therapeutic for me. If you made it all the way here to the end, I thank you sincerely. If you would consider subbing to the channel and dropping a like, I'd greatly appreciate it. It goes a long way in helping out. Look forward to future videos here pretty soon, working on rolling those out. Hope you enjoyed the vid, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.